Let's start by reminding us who you voted for in the presidential election in 2016.
Independent. Didn't vote for anyone.
You didn't vote for anyone?
No.
Okay.
I voted for Donald Trump.
Donald J. Trump.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton. Okay. President, of course, is in the news a lot, this week especially, so we'll start by talking about him. Let's just sort of open up by generally asking, Monica, I'll start with you. What do you think of the president right now?
Very low marks. I don't feel confident in the future. I'm worried for our country. I feel like there's something negative each day, something more spectacular. The bombastic language is just, it's a little much. It's different from what we've been accustomed to, or at least what I think should be happening.
When you say you're scared for the country, what is it that scares you?
The climate in the country is a concern for me. I feel that because he's in office, there is racism. It's more pronounced. You see it in many places in the United States. I think it's always existed, but I think that he just has made people feel that they can openly be racist and offend other people. See a lot of violent crime due to racism, and that's something that it bothers me. It worries me. It's not the way that we should be at this time.
Carlos, how about you?
The total opposite. I think that, first of all, I'm a military man, okay? And I lived the past 8 years before the president took over were some of the worst years that our country has gone through. I think that we elected a non-politician, a man that, as opposed to his predecessor, has testicular fortitude, a man that, since these people's never seen someone like him, they don't know how to react. It's got the press confused. It's got everybody confused. But the American people voted for him, and we are happy. I think since Ronald Reagan, that's the best president we've had.
So if you didn't vote for him, you're not an American?
I didn't say that.
Okay. When you say the American people voted for him and are happy, I mean, obviously there are people who aren't happy. That's why I was just clarifying.
I'm sure there's a few that are not.
Okay. Steve?
I think President Trump's doing a fantastic job. He's doing everything he promised to do when he campaigned. I give him an A+, and I don't think there is a single racist bone in his body.
Okay. Yanina?
I think he could be doing better, but I like him. Well, not his persona, because he has said a couple things that shouldn't have been said. But I like where the country's headed. There is more racism, as Monica said, but I think the economy is doing way better.
And we're going to get into the economy in a little bit. You all saw what his visit to Europe, especially when he stopped in Helsinki, Finland, to see the Russian President Vladimir Putin. What did you make of that spectacle, that press conference, that whole meeting? What was your impression of it?
I didn't like it.
Why not?
The very little that I saw, because I didn't see all of it, I didn't like it because he's supposed to stand for America, the United States, and he didn't do a good job. I believe he didn't do what was necessary. And yes, he's trying. He's not a politician, but he's trying.
What would have been necessary to do in that setting?
Address the public more. I know he had a closed-door meeting. Maybe make it public so we can see what's going on.
Steve?
I think the summit in Helsinki went very well. I thought the president did a great job. He's standing up for America, which is what he campaigned on. And I think it's very important that we get along with Russia. I don't understand these people that start screaming, every time Putin's name comes up. I mean, he's some evil boogeyman. I just don't buy it. I think Trump needs to meet with him, and I hope this is just the first of several meetings that he has with President Putin.
I think that if President Trump would find a cure for cancer, the Democrats will complain that he put undertakers out of work. The meeting went really well. What do they want him to do? Get up, put some gloves on, and kick his butt? He's not going to do that.
Ronald Reagan would have done that.
Maybe, but not President Trump. I think he represented America the right way.
I think it was an embarrassment from the moment he landed in Europe. He appeared incompetent. He didn't know, he was not briefed. He could not answer questions properly. He has no clue what Brexit means. It was very obvious. I saw the tapes. I'm sure that you saw the clips as well. As far as the meeting with Putin, I think that many in this country feel that it was a complete letdown. He did not represent as well. As a matter of fact, I feel the complete opposite of what you are saying. I felt that he dishonored us and he mocked us the moment that he put Putin ahead of us. And as far as a boogeyman, I don't know if you know, you are aware of this, but the man is, you know, he's just this week is the anniversary of the Malaysian jet that was shot down, okay, which he's directly responsible. 298 people died as a result of that. I'm sorry, that was in the news.
Responsible?
Do you have proof that Vladimir Putin ordered that plane shot down? I don't think so.
Well,
we can.
let me ask it this way: Is Vladimir Putin a friend or a foe of the United States?
Vladimir Putin is a competitor to the United States. We have a lot of competitors. Every president wants to represent his country and his people, just like President Trump wants to do. So we get along with you know, the premier of China. You know, why can't we get along with the president of Russia?
Is he a friend or a foe?
I would say friend.
Friend. Okay.
Yes.
Why?
He could have gone to war with us, and he didn't.
Okay. Carlos?
A lot of people see him as a foe, but I think the president wants to see him as a friend. Okay.
How do you see him, though?
After what I saw the other day, I see him as a friend.
Okay. And you clearly see him as a foe. Okay.
I do.
Who comes across in a setting like that, where our president is asked about what went on during the 2016 election, what Russia did, according to intelligence agencies, and they're in this setting together, and in general, around the world, who do you think is seen as the stronger leader? President Trump or President Putin?
Putin. Definitely.
I saw President Trump clearly as the leader in that summit.
Okay.
I agree 100%.
I saw Putin as a stronger one.
Okay. I suspect some of you feel that the president is perhaps too cozy with Vladimir Putin, although some of you might think it's okay.
I think the president's been very tough on Putin this year. I mean, look at all the things he's done. All those diplomats he kicked out of the United States, sanctions on Russia, really tough sanctions, good tough sanctions. I think he's been very tough on Russia. I think he's been the toughest of any president in the last 20 years on Russia.
After the next election, I'll be able to do a lot more stuff.
You're referring to when President Obama met with...
that was clearly embarrassing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Despite his public statements, because we heard both that he didn't necessarily agree with the intelligence community's assessment of what happened during the 2016 elections, and then we heard him say, I do, then said, I do, but it also could have been other people. Despite his public statements and the fact that he at least somewhat seems to doubt whether or not Russia interfered in the 2016 elections, based on what you've read or seen, are you worried at all about Russian interference again this fall in the elections?
Not really.
No?
No.
Not at all. I'm not worried about Russia interfering with our 2018 midterm elections at all. Actually, I believe President Putin when he said that they did not interfere with our elections in 2016.
So you believe Putin?
I believe Putin over our intelligence agencies, absolutely.
Why?
Our intelligence agencies under President Obama are rife with people that are on the left. They have their own agenda, and their agenda was to defeat Trump, and if Trump got elected, to impeach him.
I think not only the Russians, but other agencies have been interfering with our elections for a while. And past presidents like Obama didn't do a damn thing about it. Now, because it's Trump and because everybody wants to, bring him down, it's a big thing. When Obama was in charge, it wasn't a big thing.
Monica. Russians interfered in the elections?
Yes,
Okay. Are you worried it's going to happen again?
I do.
Do you think the administration's taking it seriously enough?
No.
What could they be doing to take it more seriously?
For example, I know that there was money allotted to a certain agency for this. There has been zero spent of that money on security. So I'm not too confident about that, and at times I feel that maybe the elections are already lost because
Because you think they might be able to just sway the results.
Absolutely.
They being Russia.
They being Russia. And I know they're not doing it just here. It's happening in Europe. It's happening in Greece. It's happened in Britain, as of a report today that I was listening to. So,
Steve, you touched on this a little bit. Like him or hate him, has the president kept his promises since he was elected?
I believe he has kept his promises. Absolutely.
What's the biggest promise you think he's kept and fulfilled?
The biggest one is the biggest tax cut that he got passed in the history of this country. That was fantastic. He got that passed in less than 6 months. Obama was in office and he didn't do anything in 8 years.
Well, he did the Affordable Care Act and
Which
the
was a
stimulus
complete
plan,
disaster.
which you may not like.
The
right?
Obamacare is a complete disaster. Trump has tried to get it repealed and replaced, but we have a do-nothing Congress that just is resist and obstruct.
I think he fulfilled some stuff, and he didn't do a good job in others. For instance, the pipeline. I don't agree with that. I don't think he did a good job in reinstating.
You're talking about the Keystone pipeline?
Yes. And I don't believe that was a good move on his part. I do believe he has helped the economy. There is a lot more jobs. I definitely see that. So I'm in between.
He said he would improve the economy. He said he would bring jobs back to the U.S. And after 8 years of a stagnant economy under Obama, now we have an economy that is booming. I'm waiting on the wall. I'm asking if they need some money so I can pay some money so they can send me there and help build the wall.
We'll get to immigration in a second.
Good.
Like him or hate him, has he kept his promises?
I don't see that he's kept any promises. I don't think that he should be taking credit for the economy. I think the economy was very well when Obama left it. As a matter of fact, when Obama took over, he pulled us out of a recession. He helped the auto industry. And, at this point, I don't know what it's going to be like in 2 years. I think it's kind of too soon to tell. But I believe that after 2-3 years is when we're going to actually see the effects of it. At this point, right now, we're still riding the coattails of a very strong economy.
Well, let's talk about the economy.
Obama spent 8 years trashing Bush for the economy he supposedly inherited, and now he wants to take credit for what Trump has done to bring this economy back to the roaring speed that it's on.
GDP never exceeded 2%.
Never under Trump.
Under
I mean,
Obama?
never under Obama. Never.
Well, let me ask it this way. Show of hands. Do you feel that you are better off economically now than before Donald Trump became president? If you agree, put your hand
Absolutely.
up.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. You didn't raise your hand.
Doesn't make a difference to me. I'm the same.
Okay. Have any of you seen it on your paycheck or seen it in your bank account, a net benefit, a positive benefit from the tax cut?
Yes.
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 In what way?
I'm making about $100 more each paycheck.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Sure.
To me, that's amazing. A 30-year-old getting $100 more, that's great for me.
I'm retired, so I don't have a paycheck to see the big Trump tax cut.
Okay.
I'm retired military. For 8 years, I didn't get a pay raise. The veterans under Obama, we didn't get a pay raise for 8 years. Active duty did, but not veterans. When President Trump took over, I got 2 pay raises. One, because he gave every military retiree a pay raise, and at the same time, the tax cut was like another pay raise.
Well, you mean your benefits went up, in essence. Not that you were being paid, but that your benefits rose.
I get a pension.
Right.
Okay.
So through your pension, you were seeing a higher return.
Exactly, because less taxes. And the regular raise that we got, well, the first raise in 8 years that we
Right.
got under President Trump.
Okay.
It doesn't apply because I'm 100% commission, so wouldn't.
You don't see it necessarily. At least
No.
you haven't seen it yet.
You're
Okay.
still paying less taxes on your commissions that are awarded, correct?
1099.
Absolutely.
Well, she hasn't paid her taxes yet for this year since it took effect, so we'll see
But-
next April. In
Do
fairness.
you pay estimated quarterly taxes?
No. At the end of the year, I get it and give it to an accountant, so not yet.
What's your understanding of the trade war that he's overseeing or seeking with Europe, with China? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
More tariffs might be a bad thing. It's early to tell. Too early, because they're just going to put sanctions and more tariffs on us, and it's just... But I think in the long run, he wants to bring home jobs, so it could be a good thing. But it's too soon.
The trade war is definitely a good thing. Trump campaigned on it. This country has been ripped off for the last 30, 40 years by other countries, and it's not fair. Trump wants fair trade, and I agree with him 100%. And I think that eventually we are going to win the trade war.
What is that going to look like, though?
It's going to be some pain in this process right now.
For who?
For China, for Canada, for Mexico, for the EU, even for maybe some industries in the United States. But it's going to be worth it for the long term because they're going to flinch eventually. The other countries, China and Canada, they're going to come and they're going to call Trump and they're going to want to make a deal. And we are going to win this trade war.
I think the word tariffs scare a lot of people, but I think it's too early to tell. I see China as being eating us alive for years and years, and no president, again, the same term, had the testicular fortitude to do anything. This man is doing what he has to do.
I think it may hurt us, and I in that sense, I don't see him to be such a great negotiator. He placed tariffs on other countries. He wasn't banking on other countries turning around and doing the same to us. So we'll see how that plays out in the future.
Trump is a master negotiator. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
He is a genius.
We'll put you down as undecided. Monica, let me ask you, because you're the only Democrat at the table. So I'm just curious. You look at what's going on with Democrats, and the party's starting to get ready for the next election. Is there someone out there who you'd like to see possibly run for president in 2020? Or someone you want to learn more about?
To don't know. We have some ideas, but anything can happen.
Should Joe Biden run for president?
I like Joe Biden. I respect Joe Biden.
What about Bernie Sanders? Should he try it again?
No.
Why not?
I don't. I think that he had a. Some people may say a fair shot. Others may say not. He can't run under the Democratic ticket. He should have run under his own, under the independent. And to me, I see that as a situation that actually hurt the Democrats. So I would prefer him to just not throw his hat in the ring.
Okay. You've seen a big push among Democratic members of Congress, people running for Congress, people thinking about running for president, embracing far more liberal or sort of left-wing views on health care, on the economy, on immigration. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You think the party had it right before, or does it need to perhaps rethink its stance on issues?
And swing more to the left?
Yeah.
No, I think we probably should swing more to the center.
Yeah?
Correct. Yes.
Did it get too left-leaning in the last few years? You think that was part of the problem in 2016, or you've just seen it since then?
I don't think so. I think it doesn't need to move any further to the left, but stay where it is or a little bit more to the center.
Sure. Carlos and Steve, I know you're both devoted Trump fans.
Absolutely.
But I am curious, is there a Democrat who at least intrigues you, that you may want to learn more about or hear more from during the 2020 campaign?
Not really. There's not a candidate that the Democratic Party can put up that can beat Trump in 2020.
I agree 100%.
So no Democrat out there that either worries you as a potential threat or that you'd like to sort of hear more from?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. He's got you two in his pocket. How about you?
No. Unfortunately, there's no one that can go against Trump right now.
Do you think he's unbeatable?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that's a good thing, but I don't think it's a bad thing either. Right now, there's no one strong enough against him.
If the economy continues the way it's going now,
Yeah.
he's unbeatable.
Yeah.
Because
People
it'd be hard for people
Yeah.
to...
I mean, anything can happen,
Yeah.
But if things continue the way they're going now, he's unbeatable.
Is there any Democrat out there that you're at least curious to learn more about that's thinking about it?
Not really.
No. Okay.
I don't know. No names strike out. Yeah.
Let me ask you about immigration. The president, when he was in Europe, said he thought immigration was, quote, changing the culture, unquote, and a very negative thing, he said, for Europe. Do you think the same when you look around the United States?
Yes.
You do?
Definitely. My parents were immigrants. I'm an immigrant. I was born in Argentina. I came when I was 2. And I see the type of immigration that is coming in now. And I have coworkers who can't even speak English. You're in America. You need to do your job in English. I'm sorry. I'm an immigrant. But it touches home really bad because I worked my butt off. Sorry for the language. And my parents worked their butt off. And to see someone get the same benefits or more benefits and they don't know English or they don't adapt to the American way, I think it's shameful.
Again, Trump is 100% right. Immigration is ruining the culture of Europe.
Is it ruining the culture of the United States?
No, because Trump is trying to put a stop to it. He doesn't want to allow the massive immigration that Europe has allowed, or even Canada. He wants to build that wall, and that's the first thing we need to do is to secure the border. And then we can talk about the 11 million immigrants, illegal immigrants that are in this country, what to do with them. Now, I am for DACA. I am for, doing something for the DACA because they were young when they were brought here by their parents, and it's not their fault, and we should do something for them. But the Democrats in Congress, there was a chance to do something for them, and they refused. They resisted. They obstructed. Trump was willing to give, 5 million of them a path to citizenship?
1.5, roughly 2 million, yeah.
Okay, but it was a start. But where were the Democrats? Where were they? Nowhere to be found. It's just resist and obstruct. That's the Democratic Party today.
When he talks, though, about the idea that somebody who comes from another country seeking opportunity or perhaps trying to cause trouble coming into this country or coming into another country and immigrating for whatever reason, the thought that they are changing the culture of a country, I mean, that doesn't give you any pause or concern.
It does. It does. I think they are, ruining their country. You see these people having parades here in the United States. They're immigrants, and they're waving Mexican flags. This is America. Why don't they have a U.S. flag, American flag? If you come here, you've got to, what are you going to, you're going to support our culture, or are you going to bring your culture here?
What is American culture?
American culture is, stand up for the flag.
Red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue.
Hardworking.
Hardworking, tax-paying.
Another thing is the president is not against illegal immigration. He's against illegal immigration. And sadly, the Democrats are for illegal immigration and they don't care about the health or the well-being of these people. They see it as voters. These are future voters.
Why don't Republicans see them as voters? They could be Republicans.
Yeah, but there's our illegals.
So? Doesn't mean they might not vote Republican.
Can illegals vote?
Well, no. Of course not.
Okay.
They couldn't vote for Democrats either. But I'm saying, when immigrants, because I hear this a lot from supporters of the president who say, well, they're all just going to be Democratic voters. What's to say they won't be a Republican voter?
Have you read what's going on in California? Now they want to give them vouchers so they can vote, the illegals.
Well, it's not quite as described, but I mean, yes, there are examples of states that perhaps are a little more lenient or welcoming or whatever for illegal immigrants, but
or voter seekers.
Voter
seekers. They're seeking voters.
But again, that argument that Democrats are doing this because they're seeking voters, the marketplace of ideas could potentially win them over, and they could be Republican voters one day. Couldn't they?
I guess.
And when you say Democrats are for illegal immigration, why is that?
For votes.
For votes.
They see them as potential voters. They want to give these illegal people that cross the border illegally, they want to give them amnesty so they can register to vote, and they know that probably 80% plus are going to vote Democrat. Republicans believe in the rule of law. This is a country of laws. And when these people cross our border illegally, they're breaking our immigration laws. Trump is for immigration, but for legal immigration. And the left doesn't want to stipulate that difference.
What if, familiar with what went on in 2013 when they tried to pass a big immigration bill? Remember there was an attempt, the Gang of Eight? Mm-hmm. Remember that it had...
Marco Rubio was part of the
Gang
of Eight.
Exactly. And do you remember that it had pathways to citizenship or legal status for some, depending on their status, but it also had billions of dollars and about 30,000 more Border Patrol agents to guard the border. And that got the vote of Republicans and Democrats.
It failed.
Could it happen again?
No.
Why not?
Not under Trump, because Trump would never sign a bill like that.
And why wouldn't he? It
Because
permits legal immigration.
He believes that we should secure the border first. Once the border is secure, then we can talk about what we're going to do about all the illegal immigrants that are in this country.
Monica, you've been quietly listening. Just curious what you make of his statement and his stance on immigration.
Okay, well, one of the things you said was that Democrats are for illegal immigration. That's intellectually dishonest. Obama deported more people than previous administrations, so he was very much in favor. And he said it before: "This is a nation of laws, and we follow laws. The only thing is just the way in which it is done. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. I feel that what is happening now, I find it very inhumane." Okay.
And this was the same way that immigration was handled under President Obama.
It is
Identical.
not.
Yes,
It is
it
not.
is.
Well,
It is.
Well, the Obama administration didn't separate families that crossed
Yes,
the
they
border
did.
illegally.
They did
Yes,
not.
they did. Yes, they did.
Let me tell you what the difference was.
There's no difference.
No, the difference was back then it wasn't reported.
Yes,
Now it is.
exactly.
That is
That's
the
the only difference.
Did the president do the right thing by backing down and allowing these families to get reunited?
Did he do the right thing? Absolutely.
When you and should those families be allowed to stay together?
They should be allowed to stay together.
What do you think?
In the country, yes. Not here.
In their home country,
Yeah,
so they should be sent back.
yeah.
Okay. Obviously, there's big disagreements, not only at this table but in Washington, over how to deal with this issue. Who is chiefly responsible for coming up with a long-term solution to the immigration problem?
Congress.
Congress.
The
Yeah.
Congress of the United States, and the Democrats won't do anything because they don't want to upset their future Democratic voters.
Yanina?
I say Congress, only because I have a friend that works as an immigration attorney, and she says that even though there's more immigrant judges, it still takes longer now because they're vetting and they're looking at every single thing, which I agree with because they should. But I think Congress needs to step up and fix it. It's going to take a long time, though. There's so many laws and so many procedures that need to be changed. I have a cousin, it took him 13 years to get residency. I don't understand why. And then I see other people that get it right away. So definitely Congress needs to change.
Who's chiefly responsible for figuring it out?
Perhaps Congress. I have to agree.
Congress. Let me ask two quick ones, and then we'll take a little break. When it comes to immigration, how have immigrants changed Florida?
First. It's very diverse. I think I'm very much in favor of immigration. I am the daughter of immigrants as well, and my father was also in the Army. He was in Vietnam. I think that this is what this country is about. We are a country of immigrants. All of us came here at some point, whether our parents, grandparents. So and Florida is the same. Florida is very diverse. We have people from all over here. We have people from South America, people from Central America, and I think they all bring something positive here.
Carlos?
When our parents, grandparents came to this country, they wanted to come to this country, and they wanted to assimilate. They learned the language. They learned the customs. Now in Miami, if you don't speak Spanish, you're out of luck. Okay? People don't want to learn the language. People don't want to adapt. Our parents came here believing in the American dream. Now for these people, the American dream is, hey, make sure Congress, make sure that the government takes care of us. And I don't like that. I think we should build a wall, and then we worry about the people that's in here.
How's the wall going to keep people out of Miami?
Well, we're talking about the wall about people coming from Mexico.
Right.
Okay, Miami, there's no wall here in Miami.
Right.
It's not going to be a wall here in Miami, but I don't think...
Well, why shouldn't there be?
We shouldn't.
Yeah.
We're an island.
Exactly.
Peninsula.
But you got people
Peninsula.
who take boats in and pull up on the beach.
Well, not as...
Should we put up a
not as
wall and
bad-
stop them?
No, not as bad as it used to be.
Right.
No. I mean, there's always going to be people that sneak in through the country. But I don't think we'll ever be able to stop that completely. Especially...
So immigrants have changed Florida for the better or for the worse?
Well, I would not say for the worst, but I would like to see them assimilate more to the American culture, the American dream, and just something simple as learning English.
The wall not only stops illegals from crossing the border, but it also stopping the flow of drugs to this country, which is tearing this country apart. I mean, the opioid crisis is a disaster to this country. Our young people are dying every day. How many are dying every day of opioid addiction? So the wall is not just to stop illegal immigration, but it's also to stop all those drugs coming across the border.
My question was, how have immigrants changed Florida?
I think it's too early to tell. I think the jury is still out on what effect it's had on Florida.
Because you're an immigrant to Florida. You came from St. Louis, right?
I did.
And how has it changed in the last 30, 40 years?
It's changed a lot since I moved here in 1972. A lot. For the worse, unfortunately, I have to say.
In what way?
Crime. There was no crime here. There was crime in 1972, but like I told you before, my family went to the Keys a weekend for fishing, and they left their whole house open. They didn't lock any doors. They didn't close any windows. We came back 3 days later, and not a thing had been touched. You can't do that today in Miami. You've got to have a guard dog, an alarm system, cameras. So it has changed.
And it's because of immigrants that it's changed in your...
I wouldn't say this. No, I wouldn't say this all on immigrants. No.
Okay. How about you? How have immigrants changed Florida?
I believe it changed it for the better. Only because we're more diverse, and you need diverse culture in Miami and Florida. You have all types of museums, art museum. You have all types of culture appreciation. It is more, there are more crimes, but in the 80s there was crime too. So, you know, I'm a newbie, a baby. So I believe that, yes, it changed for the better, only because of all the buildings and how much Miami has grown since. But there is crime, yes. And they should, as he said, assimilate, because we are in America, and you need to learn how to adapt. You left your country to be better, to become better. So I believe that if you left a horrible place, as you say, you shouldn't come and make it a horrible place here. You should come and try to better yourself, not just stay the same.
We're here in Florida, where, of course, the shooting at Parkland High School happened. And you've seen those students very quickly become national activists. I'm curious whether their activism has changed your own views here, back home, of the issue of the Second Amendment and gun rights.
No.
No.
No. I don't like what they stand for.
No?
No. I don't think they're pushing to get rid of the Second Amendment or control it or ban it on certain people. Military, my boyfriend's military, and he has friends that have PTSD, but they're pushing to remove, you know, if they have some sort of mental issue. Is PTSD one of them? If it is, I don't agree with it, because
this is the idea that if a family member or a boyfriend or girlfriend or someone sees somebody who has an issue and they know they own weapons, to be able to go to a judge and say, maybe we should take this away for a few days or a few weeks.
I don't agree with that.
No?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Steve?
No, I don't agree with that either.
What about their activism, the fact that something so tragic inspired young people to speak out?
It was a tragic thing that happened to the students, and the students that died and were injured in that shooting. But I don't think their activism is going to change one thing about the gun laws in this country or the gun laws in the state of Florida, where we have stand your ground.
Monica, how about you?
As far as those kids, I'm very impressed with them, that they're doing this. They're definitely getting a lot of people's attention. Is it going to change anything? I don't know. If persons that register for the first time to vote, they come out and vote, it may. We're talking about gun laws, correct?
Right.
No, I don't know. That's a tough one. They've tried and nothing has ever happened. I think that that the lobby in Congress is far too strong for anything like that to ever change. And we can't even come together to have a rational discussion about it. And when we try, the left is accused of you're trying to take after, come and take my guns. And I don't think it's quite like that. We just want, some more safety. That's it.
How about you?
First, I thought it was going to be something positive, but then I think they just became another mouthpiece for the Democratic Party. That's what it was. The Second Amendment is never going to be repealed. Remember, guns don't kill people.
They're not trying to repeal the Second Amendment.
But they're trying to come up with all these reasons why you shouldn't own a gun, and don't mess with my guns.
Do you own guns?
Absolutely.
How many?
Many.
Many. Okay. Well, look, Monica suggested that it's hard to have a rational conversation about this. Let's try to have a rational conversation about this. Do we all agree there should be a Second Amendment?
Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's in our Constitution.
Let her answer for her. Well, let Monica answer. Go ahead.
I think we should make some changes to it. I don't think that the intention back then was the same as it is now. This is the only country where we have things like that happen, and you may have a right to your guns, but my family, my child, also has a right to feel safe in the streets and to feel safe at school or in a grocery store or in a theater.
But guns aren't the problem. Guns don't automatically shoot. It's someone that's wrong in their head or something, It's
the access to the guns.
Chicago has the toughest gun laws in this country, and look how many deaths, how many people are killed in Chicago every weekend.
But those guns aren't
Exactly.
in Chicago. They're coming in from somewhere else.
That's exactly my point. No matter what laws you have, because Chicago has the toughest, people will be able to get their hands on a gun.
No matter what.
Well, there's just too many guns in circulation anyway to make a difference. But it would take many years for that actually to change. It's just too much.
There are actually more guns in this country than there are people.
Yes, that is correct.
And yet, so we agree there should be a Second Amendment, perhaps more restrictions on it, or change the ways that there is access to weapons. We probably all agree that there shouldn't be shootings at high schools, right?
Absolutely.
So how do we stop that?
Armed military in high school.
So you think a kindergartner, a sophomore in high school, should have to walk by an armed member of the military every day?
Yeah.
That's what it's come to.
Yeah. Sadly, that is what it's come to.
And you think there's enough members of the military or local police
Veterans.
to station at every one of the thousands and thousands of schools all across the country?
There's a lot.
No. What we need to do is we need to arm teachers.
No.
You really think
I
this?
really think that is what we need.
That's crazy.
We really need to arm the teachers. They should be the first line of defense to protect their students.
They're not
We
properly
don't have
trained.
enough military for every school in this country to protect them. The teachers are there, and they're going to be the front line defense.
What if they don't want to do that?
Then they shouldn't have to, if they don't believe it. I know, I don't believe in that they should be, forced to do that.
But if they wanted to,
If they wanted to, I believe that they should.
I think it should be a combination of both. Teachers, if they want to be armed, if they go through the training, if they're able to handle a weapon, by all means. Now, we have plenty of retired military, police, people that they'll be more than glad
Would you do
to
it?
take that job. Absolutely. But
How often would you be willing to do
the
it?
problem is my other job, I'm making too much money, unless they're willing to pay me more. But it will be something I will definitely do.
You like the idea of arming teachers? No. And it's a tricky conversation for us to have here. It's even trickier for Congress.
Oh, of course.
Let's talk about Congress. You've got elections coming up in November. What I'm first of all curious about, headlines of the day notwithstanding, everything else going on in the world notwithstanding, are you planning to vote in November?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
What is the primary issue that's driving you to the polls in November? Why will you vote?
There's not one issue. There's a lot.
Well, give me an example.
Immigration, healthcare, and the economy. Those
Okay.
are my top three. Yeah.
Why are you going to vote?
Immigration. We need to keep the House and the Senate, and possibly even increase the numbers in both houses of Congress, so that Trump can get his agenda pushed through.
So more Republicans
More
in Congress
Republicans.
would help make it happen.
Well, would help make it happen.
What's the number one issue driving you to the polls, Carlos?
The silly talk by the Democrats of impeaching the president.
Okay. So you want to protect the
Makes
president.
no sense.
So it's protecting the president then.
That's something very, very important. And I want the economy to continue the way it's going. And I think with more Republicans in Congress, the president will be able to pass his agenda more freely.
You planning to vote?
Yes.
What's the main reason why?
The main reason why is just to vote Democrat. I think that unfortunately, it has shifted to the right. We don't have the executive branch, we don't have Congress, and we don't have the courts. And the checks and balances is not. It's skewed one way. So
You'd like to see a little more balance.
absolutely.
Obama had the House and the Senate when he was president,
That's
and
what
what
I
did
was
he
saying.
accomplish?
I was going to say that.
Nothing.
He accomplished many
Well,
things.
he got the Affordable Care Act, like you said earlier, you just didn't like it. So he did get that.
Yeah, he did get that.
Right. And Republican Congress
And it's a
has got-
train wreck.
Right.
And 8 years of a stagnant economy.
But you want to see a rebalance of Washington. If Democrats were to take back the House, at least, what would you like to see them try to do, knowing that they're going to have to work with the president and potentially a Republican Senate? What realistically could they get done?
I would hope that they would move towards impeachment.
You do.
Yes, 100%.
And
So-
that's why I'm voting this November, to make sure that Republicans control the House
And the Senate.
and the Senate. And I predict they will. I predict that the Republicans are going to pick up.
Monica, you said you want to see them impeach him. Why?
I feel that the way he obtained the White House was not a democratic way.
We're not
You're
a
calling
Democrat.
you're
We're
calling
a
the election
republic.
illegitimate.
And we're a republic, not a democracy.
Let her finish. Go ahead. Not a democratic way, like lowercase d. Democratic.
Correct.
Okay.
It wasn't in a democratic way. I feel that another country, another foreign power, meddled in our election. Okay. Also feel I think his what he said, that he was coming to drain the swamp. I think that he is filling the swamp.
In what way?
Many of the people that are in his cabinet are there and have been enriching themselves, okay, at the expense of us, and people are not paying attention. And you're not going to see that on Fox. Okay?
Everyone agrees that not one vote was changed in the 2016 election, even if the Russians did meddle or try to meddle.
There's not an if.
Not one vote was changed.
There's not an if.
Your point about you won't see that on Fox. What do you mean by that?
Well, because he I'm looking at Steve, and he's saying a lot of things that I know are said on Fox. If I turn on Fox, I understand where he's getting that information. But if you went to other news sources, perhaps you might see other information that doesn't quite agree with that, and objective information.
I don't watch
Objective.
fake news.
Clinton
Well-
News Network, objective.
So
That
here's
is not
an
Clinton News
interesting
Network.
question. Three of you said you rely on Fox to get your news. You're talking to CBS. Are we fake news? Do you trust that we're going to
Are you?
accurately reflect
Are
what
you?
you're saying? No, we're not fake news. Of course not.
I don't follow CBS.
I don't follow CBS, so I can't
Sorry.
give you an opinion on that.
But do you worry, given that you don't, and given that we're not Fox, you had no qualms about sitting down with somebody that you don't watch?
No qualms whatsoever.
Okay. Because you hear this conversation about, well, I watch whatever channel, the other guys are fake news. Just curious that, if that's the case, does that mean that they're untrustworthy or that they're potentially not giving you the whole truth?
When they talk about fake news, really there's two stations that jump up, PMSNBC and CNN.
Okay.
That fake news, he started that. I mean, he
And he
has
was right.
ruined the
He was
credibility.
He's right.
According to you, that's your opinion.
CNN is fake news. They go there.
But the free press is part
They're
of
not-
our democracy, and you are casting doubt. It is their responsibility to report the news to us.
Exactly, not to lie.
Not to
And-
make up the news.
Well, you're
Report
looking at
it,
the.
not
You're looking,
make it up.
You look at Fox, and I don't find that to be a credible news source.
Well,
They're
sorry.
propaganda.
Sorry.
But you have watched them.
I look at them to see the difference. I don't look at them to get any news or to base, my opinions. I go to other news sources, but Fox, I will not. I don't look at them, like I said, to obtain any news of any kind.
Do either of you watch the other channels at all to at least get a different opinion or no?
Absolutely not. I don't watch any fake news.
Will you at least watch us?
I might
When
give
when you're
CBS
on
a try.
Sunday?
I might watch your CBS. I'll give you a try.
All right, good. At least we got that. Let's talk about Florida a little more, because you guys, we're here at sort of ground zero for politics. You have competitive House races, competitive Senate races. You're going to have a very competitive and expensive governor's race as well. Let's start with the Senate. You have a Senator, Bill Nelson, who's up for re-election this year. What do you make of Bill Nelson? What do you know about Bill Nelson?
He's our Democrat, and I will be placing my vote for him.
Would Rick Scott make a good senator?
No.
How's he
absolutely
been
not.
as governor?
I don't think he's been that good as a governor. When I think of Rick Scott, I think about the health care, the hospital, and that he pled the fifth several times. I think it was over 70 times, and he's just not. His views are not in line with mine.
The hospital being the one where those retirees died in the heat?
No. I'm talking about
Or his own?
His own.
Okay.
Okay.
Carlos, how about you? Senator Bill Nelson.
I think he's old. He should retire. I think I like DeSantis.
For governor.
Yeah. Military man, Navy SEAL.
Bill Nelson is a lapdog for the Democrats, and he will be replaced this year by a new Senator, Rick Scott.
What should Americans know about Rick Scott?
He's been a great governor. He's been one of the best governors in this state, and I've lived in this state since 1972, so I think I might know a little something about that.
Yanina? Bill Nelson.
I can't say I know much about him, but I do like and dislike Governor Scott. He did really well for Hurricane Irma. He did a fantastic job with that. But as far as what she's mentioned, he pled the fifth.
In regards to his company.
Yeah,
It was Medicare fraud.
He was
And-
never convicted of anything.
No, but
It is your
You can't-
constitutional right to plead the Fifth Amendment in this country, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Yes.
We'll disagree on Rick Scott, too, it seems. And you do have a handful of House races underway, because you have which district do you live in? Who's your Congress representative right now? In the House.
Ileana Roosevelt Clayton.
Who's
Yes.
retiring? Who else lives in her district?
Ileana Roussel,
do?
who is retiring.
Okay.
I'm
Yanina?
not sure who the Kendall one is.
Okay.
It's a Republican. I know. I can't
Yeah.
remember the name.
Is it Carlos Curbelo?
Yes,
Yes.
Covello. Yes.
Yes.
He's got your name for God's sake.
Yeah, but he's not as good looking.
Who should... wide open race for Ileana Ros-Lehtinen seat then, but a very crowded field. Do you know anything about any of the candidates running to replace her?
Very, very little. There's many. I haven't really decided on which one, but I know that there are a few. So it's something I'm gonna.
I will be voting for the Republican candidate for the House in my district in Florida come November.
No matter
Whoever
who it is.
he or she is.
Right. What if they waver in any way on their support for the president?
Then I'll have to take a second look at them. But under no circumstances would I ever vote for a Democrat.
Okay. Can we go back for a second to the president and what we started with? There was one thing I kind of that came up, and I'm just curious what you guys make of it. We've seen the president in the last several weeks devote a lot of time to meeting with the leader of North Korea, a dictator who we know has killed his own people, who spends far more on enriching himself and on nuclear weapons than on building his economy. We've now seen the president in the past week meet with President Putin and begin preparations for another meeting between them in Washington this fall. This is a guy who faces very little competition when he runs for re-election, who has killed journalists and other critics of him and his government. We know the president likes to say that he's friends with the leader of China, which of course is not a democracy, which is a pretty centrally controlled government. And yet he then meets with leaders of European countries, which are democracies, which are pushing to have free market principles and whatnot, and proceeds to criticize them. I'm just curious, when you see that, given what Democratic and Republican presidents have done and said in the past with other world leaders, that he seems to be more interested or get more vigor from meeting with guys like Chairman Kim and President Putin, and then struggle in his interactions with someone like Prime Minister May of Great Britain or any of those European leaders he met with.
Because Trump inherited the problems of Vladimir Putin and North Korea, and he's trying to do something. Past presidents have done nothing to meet with them or to solve any of the problems. Trump is willing to sit down with them and try to do something.
Reagan met with Gorbachev.
Yes.
Clinton met with Yeltsin and Putin. Bush met with Putin and Medvedev, the other guy. Obama did as well.
And they all sold out the United States when they did it.
How did they sell out the United States?
They sold out. They didn't do anything. Nothing happened. Nothing changed.
What needs to change? What would demonstrate that change?
We need to sit down with Putin, and we need to try and get him back into the world community and stop this killing people and invading other countries.
And you think Trump could convince him to do that?
Trump. If there's anyone that can do it, it's President Trump.
I think his idea is keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
So you have no problem with it if it's that?
Absolutely, and if it's going to be positive, not only for us, but for the world. And what he did in NATO, to me, just shows us again that he's got the guts to do it. How much money you think we contribute to NATO? How much the other countries do? Why? But he's the only one that's got the guts to do it. Obama did, Bush did. That's just the way it is. Clinton.
Yanina?
Can you repeat the question?
The idea that the president has spent more time and seems to get more vigor out of meeting with guys like President Putin and Chairman Kim, and seems to struggle in his interactions with other democratically elected leaders. What do you make of that?
He's trying to show off. Sorry, that's how I feel. He's trying to prove a point. I don't know what the point is. Maybe that America's stronger or something like that. I'm not sure what to make of it. I don't like that he's alienating us a little bit from the rest of Europe, because you can see the news. They don't really like us that much, or they don't like Trump. And I think there should be a middle ground. I don't know why he's doing what he's doing. we'll see what happens.
Monica?
Well, I think it's completely crazy that happened. Our friends and allies are in Europe. Those are the people that came to our rescue after 9/11. It's important to know that and to respect that. The relationship between him and Putin, I mean, we can sit here and speculate all night. I have my ideas of what it is.
What do you think it is?
I just find it very shady.
Okay.
But time will tell. With North Korea, I don't think there's anything there to gain. I believe you were speaking of, when you said past presidents, you were referring to Korea, or you were referring to
Russia.
Russia.
He had met, the previous American presidents have met with Russian leaders.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been direct interaction with a North Korean leader, at least among a president and that chairman. I mean, is it bad that he met with Chairman Kim?
It's neither bad nor good. There's nothing that's gonna come of that. I think other presidents have, if not tried to have some diplomacy there or some kind of talks, it has never led to anything. And I don't think that this man is going to change anything or denuclearize. None of that's going to happen. It's so.
Trump is a problem solver. Trump is going to solve the problem in North Korea.
How?
They are going to denuclearize.
Really?
Yes, they are.
How?
Let Trump work his magic. That's what he does. And that's one of the reasons that the American people elected him. He gets things done. He's a problem solver. Just sit back and wait. You just sit back and wait.
How long should the country wait for him to
We should
do
wait
that?
as long as it takes. Because this is a very important issue, not just for the United States, but for the whole world, that we denuclearize North Korea, because the guy is a madman.
Yes, he is a madman.
And I think the
That's
world
not gonna happen.
respects us. They're scared of Trump. The last 8 years, we were the laughingstock of the world.
Absolutely.
We drew a red line every 15 days, and they kept crossing it, and we just drew another red line.
What
That's
is
not
it,
happening.
Monica? What does it mean to be a Democrat?
To be a Democrat, I think I'm more compassionate than a Republican. I think that the issues that worry me and that concern me are not the same issues that a Republican thinks about. I think about Medicare. I'm sorry, medical care for everyone. The elderly are a concern. Education for everybody is a concern to me. Equality.
I asked you earlier, is there an issue or a tone the Democratic Party could strike to win back support from people who had voted for President Obama and Democrats in the past and voted for President Trump last time? Is there something the party needs to do or not do, maybe, to win back more support?
I think they would probably need to reach out to more people. And that's about it.
Carlos, what does it mean to be a Republican?
Work hard, follow the law, and the American dream is within reach.
Republican to me means less government, lower taxes, a strong military, and a rule of law.
Does it mean fealty to Trump?
Does
it mean support for President Trump?
Well, if you're a good Republican, you support Trump because he's for all of those things. And we've seen it in action. He's got the largest increase in the military budget since Reagan.
Is supporting the president a requirement to be a Republican?
It's not a requirement.
I don't think it's a requirement, but I see we have, in my opinion, the best president since Ronald Reagan, without a doubt in my
I only ask that
mind.
because so many have suggested that if you're not, if you're not
No, it's
supporting the
not
president, you're not a real Republican.
No, I don't believe that.
Well, look, we've been at this for a while, and I appreciate it, and I know it hasn't always been easy breezy. What I'm curious, you see the division. You've demonstrated it here tonight. There are sharp, profound disagreements about the country, the direction of the country, about all sorts of issues. What on earth is going to bring this country back together?
Love.
Love.
Yeah. Love. Love for America, though. Like, love for the country, not to see it divided anymore. Not to be so right-winged or left-wing. I think having common sense and just trying to get in the middle, understanding each other, Democrats and Republicans, yeah.
Compromise. Let's see the Congress once in their life compromise on something to get done for the American people. That's what would bring this country together. I think if you could see Congress working together side by side and passing some laws, I think the country would be behind them.
I think compromise is vital, but I'm also praying that a doctor comes up with a magic pill that will cure liberalism.
That's going to bring us together?
Absolutely. No liberalism. Big time.
Monica, what about you? What's going to bring us back together?
I don't know. Probably nothing.
Really? You think it's divided for good?
We are divided, yeah. Our views are deeply entrenched. Our differences, we can agree on a lot of things, but I just don't think that we're going to be able to agree on this.
I think the divisiveness in this country started under President Obama, if you really want to know the truth. And it's only gotten worse.
What do you think? What's driving that disagreement, though?
Politics. Identity politics. Everybody is entrenched on their side, and they won't give an inch to the other side.
Well, okay. So you want to compromise. Is there something that either Democrats are for or that you think might work that you'd be willing to cede to them in order to get some other Republican priority accomplished?
Absolutely.
What
DACA is number one.
DACA, okay.
Absolutely, DACA. We're ready, willing, and able to sit down with the Democrats and work out something for the DACA kids. But they won't sit down with us. They won't compromise. It's all resist, resist, resist.
Monica, is there anything either the president's doing or that Republicans are for that you'd think, all right, that's a good idea, regardless of the fact that it's a Republican idea?
I can't think of a single thing that they're doing that I'm in agreement with.
See, that's the problem.
You
Roger
feel the
that.
same way.
No, I said DACA. We'll give you what you want on DACA.
Yanina, how about you? You see the two sides. I know you're the independent.
They both have to give a little. Compromises 100%, yeah. I think the DACA is a good start, and then maybe healthcare. I think healthcare shouldn't be as expensive as it is. I think that's a different topic. That's like going after insurance companies and pharmaceuticals, and that's something totally different. But if they start with that, then maybe we can get somewhere.
Carlos, what's the best idea Democrats have that you'd be willing to support?
We don't have that much time.
So you have some things, is what you're saying.
No, I will have to think about it, and we're not going to be here that long. But I agree in giving them DACA, and why don't they give us the wall?
You think that's a fair trade?
Absolutely, because the wall is not.
Fair trade.
But he said
That would be a fair trade.
Mexico is going to pay for it. So which is
Well,
it?
that's semantics. But the thing about the wall is not just stopping immigrants from coming, the regular immigrants. How many ISIS? How many terrorists can come through the southern border? It's not just regular
You
immigrants.
don't think they're going to jump the wall? Or?
No,
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 we're not going to jump the wall.
not this
We're not
wall.
going to jump the
Not
Trump
this
wall.
wall. Believe me.
But
No.
Go ahead, Monica.
immigration issue isn't just people coming across the border. We have more people that come to this country and overstay their visas, coming from China, coming from Europe, from Eastern Europe, from wherever. They just overstay their visas, and they just kind of especially from Europe, we don't know who they are. We think they're, that they are American, and no, and they're illegal. So you can't just, focus on these people coming across the border, or that the wall is going to fix it, because they build tunnels and they come here too. So, do you disagree?
I agree with you 100%.
No, you don't.
There we go. We found some agreement.
We have to secure the border. That's number one.
Absolutely.
I agree.
That is number
I
one.
agree with that.
Oh, good.
No,
Agree
I
on
agree
something.
With it. No, I agree that we need to secure our borders, but I don't think the wall is.
It's
Maybe
more
a
than
different
that,
way.
is what you're saying.
Yeah, a different way.
That's just the first step. We also need a program to track these people that are coming in here and overstaying their visas. That is a big problem. Try to do that in Mexico. You'll be in jail and deported the next day. If Mexico can do it, why can't the United States?
So DACA, visa overstays, and border wall. We could start there. I really appreciate you guys doing this. It's a unique thing to watch perfect strangers come together and talk about these really difficult issues, and so I appreciate you doing it. And it's enlightening for all of us. And hopefully you learned a little something about the other side, and maybe you'll think about those issues a little more. Either way, we thank you for taking the time.